Welcome to this week's Masterclass. Today we have both Brad and Maddie from White Glove Workshops. As you guys know, this entire week has been branded for White Glove Workshops and learning how to leverage seminars for your financial planning practice and how that can impact the amount of people that come into your business. So Brad and Maddie, you've done a great job providing some content this week and obviously spending the time today and helping some of our advisors out. So thank you and welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. So we have a bunch of questions that we want to go through. This is going to be a bit of a Q&A session. So I guess I just wanted to start and either Maddie or Brad, feel free to jump in. But I'm curious to know, when running a seminar, what are the type of topics that people tend to talk about, right? Are those things that are sort of planned, through you guys? Is it something that the advisor comes up with on their own? How does that actually work?
Sure. So really any service professional can do a seminar if they're passionate about the topic and want to educate the community on that. At White Glove, we have, I think, 5 topics that are based for the financial industry. So we have Social Security, taxes and retirement income planning, college planning, and estate planning. And then we also offer a vertical for real estate for first-time home buyers as well.
Awesome. And have you found that the audience that the advisor tends to speak to is super receptive to those are hot topics, so to speak?
Sure. Yep. Our taxes and retirement currently is the best performing one.
Yeah.
And mainly with the new tax law changes and things like that, it's a hot topic, but all of our topics are pulling well.
Cool. Now, where are these events typically located? Are they like at the advisor's office? Are they, in more of a hotel or restaurant setting? Where do you find that, they tend to be held?
Sure. So we have workshops all across the country and in Canada, and we've been doing this for about 3 years. And so from our experience, we see that educational settings are performing the best. So community centers, libraries, small community colleges, things like that to keep the scene educational as well, since this is an educational event. That's, keeping with the educational feel when the registrants are, registering for the event. So sticking with that, is helping fulfill that promise. And it's pulling a good result. The attendees feel comfortable going to that type of setting opposed to an advisor's office, where they might feel a little more pressure from, getting an event from an advisor and going to their office.
Awesome. And
really,
go ahead.
All right, you really want to utilize the venue selection as a method to strengthen the credibility of the event itself. If you're talking Social Security and it's back at a financial advisor's office, sometimes that could have the connotation that, I'm going to get sold an annuity and I don't want to go there. Or a business center or a hotel kind of has that same feel, like I'm going to go in for a sales pitch. They're going to say they're going to talk about this, but it's really going to be this.
Right.
Having that library or community center really kind of boosts that credibility for it being an educational event.
That makes sense. And are these like all day events? Is it a couple hours? What are the typical time frames that you guys suggest?
We offer time frames from 60 minutes to 120 minutes. So really it's the advisor's personal preference. We like to suggest 90 minutes. It's kind of the sweet spot, mainly because you can get the presentation done in that time and then you still have time left in the beginning and afterward to build a rapport with the attendees and kind of get to know them on a relationship basis. But it's still enough content to keep them wanting more, to want to go back into your office and meet with you.
Cool.
So, and for, time purposes too, if you go the shorter amount and you go over, people are, more frustrated with you for going over the time. And then if you end early with a longer set time frame, people aren't mad for leaving early. So it's kind of the sweet spot. Cool.
And feel free to, elaborate a little bit on the services that you guys offer specifically, on top of this question that I'm going to ask. But how are these seats actually filled? Do you guys market it? Are we as advisors sort of, hitting up our clients and saying, hey, bring a friend? How does that process work?
Sure. So we are strictly digital marketing. So what happens is we have a venue team on our end that you'll let us know what area you're looking for, and we'll book a venue in that area. And then we typically go out about 5 miles out of that venue based on zip codes. And that's what we're looking at for our digital marketing purposes. And so from there, we'll do 2 weeks of digital marketing for you and then take all the registrations and things like that during that whole process. But our marketing team handles all of the, advertisements and marketing to get the individuals to register and attend your event.
So you guys provide the topic, right?
Correct.
You guys provide the people. So we just show up.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, we try to make it as turnkey as possible for the financial advisor. We know that, they got into this business to be a financial advisor, not an event planner. So we really like to do all of that burdensome minutia back end stuff. We'll take care of all of that for the advisor. They just show up, act like a professional, and rock the audition is what we like to call it, the seminar. So yeah, absolutely. We have a very detailed and ever evolving algorithm that we use with our digital marketing across a variety of social platforms that bring in attendees that are eager to hear about these topics that we're presenting, as opposed to, hey, come buy, I'll buy you a steak and you have to listen to me sell an annuity. You have people that are eager to learn about how to minimize their tax liabilities in their retirement phase. So it's a entirely different crowd, and it's, we kind of get rid of those plate lickers, if you will.
Yeah.
And, kind of bring in people that are interested in hearing from a professional on this. So
it's so funny that you said plate lickers, because I was running that workshop that I was telling you guys about yesterday, and I actually got to make an intro because I talked about you guys, and I showed the page on your website that showed like, here's all the different things that are involved in a workshop, and then that's the old way of doing it. And now, White Glove does all that. And he's like, yeah, I didn't know how to coordinate all those different things, and I didn't know how to navigate through the plate lickers, and literally now I've heard it twice in 2 days.
that's right.
All right, awesome. So now you guys have been doing this for a little while, and based on one of our previous conversations, the company does like 500 events a month or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Currently we're doing about 500 events a month all across the country. So.
And what do you find? So like, as a financial advisor, I'm sure you guys have, similar to the way that we categorize some of our clients, you have like, A, B, and C people. For you guys, it's probably based on, the amount of seats that they want filled and the frequency of events. What do you find your most successful advisors, or how many events, I should say, do you find that your most successful advisors tend to have on a monthly, quarterly, yearly basis?
Sure. Probably our top advisors that work with us have their areas kind of locked down, and they're a seminar machine, and they're doing 50 to 60 a year with us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So most of those offices have, a financial advisor who has a few sub reps that can handle that amount of leads kind of pouring in from these, and they have it down such clockwork that they can go in there, rock it, and they know that they're going to be picking up clients, so why would you ever stop, right? Once you kind of get up and rolling in that fashion, it's easy to do. But obviously not everybody's at that point. If you're just a single advisor doing it by yourself, we do have some advisors that have told us that we've totally revamped their business and breathed a new life into it. And they're doing about 4 events a quarter with us. Or you have the guy that's doing it just as a supplement. He's got a well-running business. He doesn't want a bunch of leads. Maybe he'll do, 2 events a quarter. So it's kind of a little bit across the board depending on your practice. But we do have advisors doing, 50 to 60 events a year with us that are seeing just crazy amounts of success. So.
And can you talk a little bit to, I know you guys work on a bit of like a risk-free model regarding if people aren't showing up and things like that. Can you just speak to that a little bit?
Sure. So how our process works is, like I mentioned before, you let us know the venue that you're interested in, but also you let us know how many households you want to see at that venue for your event. From there, we typically take about double the amount of registrations, knowing that there's about a 50% drop-off rate, from those who register to those who come into your event. And then from there, you don't pay us until the day after, and that's when you pay us for the household to attend your event. So that's what it means by we take all the risk up front, because if no one attends your event, you don't pay for anything. So you're not paying for any empty seats. And then also, as an extra bonus, you get the contact information of everybody who registered. So you get those who attended your seminar, but also those who registered and were no-shows. And those are pretty much free leads for you to follow up with, get them back into your office for a pseudo seminar, and get them to meet with you that way.
Awesome. That's wicked cool. And, just adding them to your email campaign and continuing to cultivate that, I can see some value there. Now, I know that every event is different, right? Because of, size and marketplace and all that type of stuff. But generally speaking, what are you finding is typically, the ROI on one of these events? I assume that a lot of them, if not all of them, are ROI positive, hence why you're doing 500 of these a month. But just curious to know what that looks like.
Yeah, really our business is based on ROI. We know that if the advisor's not making money, they're not going to use us, ever again. And our most difficult seminar we ever do with a advisor is always their very first one, kind of learn our process, get in the well-trained. So we want reorders as much as possible. It's a lot easier for us and it's a lot easier for the advisor. Typically what we hear most as far as ROI is a 4-to-1. They're seeing a 4-to-1 return. A lot of advisors, I think last week I had a guy write me back that had an 8-to-1 return, and I've heard even claims as far as a 12 to 13-to-1 return on investment for them. So seems to be doing well. Obviously, just with our growth, we must be doing something right. So
right. No, that's awesome. And so I think, Maddy, you had mentioned earlier about, or no, I think it was you, Brad, about, people not wanting to go to a particular setting, just like thinking that they're going to get pitched, right, a particular product and things like that. So I guess, how do you balance the education during the seminar, but still like giving the advisor an opportunity to sell themselves and sell their process and sell their practice? How are you educating them on balancing that?
Yeah, so pretty much the whole seminar, the purpose of it is to provide that educational base, but also to sell yourself, because you're not selling your products. So you really want to, like I mentioned earlier, build the rapport with those attendees and get them to like you on a relationship basis, hit on all the emotions to get them to trust you while knowing that you're educated in the topic, because people like to work with people they like. So that's how you are going to get them to come back into your office, is by doing it that way. But there's also, obviously we have training tips on our end that we provide to our hosts, such as power opening, a power closing, appointment closes, that they can all incorporate into their presentation to make sure they hit on what they do during their day job and, the next steps moving forward after this seminar and things like that. So we have tips and tricks to help make sure that they still hit on those points without over promoting themselves and things like that.
Cool. Now, I know that, in the fact that it's, 2018, there's a bunch of stuff with like, robo advisors and artificial intelligence and some advisors being, worried that, they may get replaced over time. I guess, how does that affect your business, regarding the seminars? Like how are the seminars benefiting the advisor in that sort of potential transition, or at least, competition?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that is definitely going to affect the financial advisor world heavily as those robo advisors become more and more popular and people see what they can do online without talking to anybody. And as far as that goes, it's even more important now for advisors to show their value to their communities and also get in front of live people. I mean, there's always going to be a limitation of what a robo advisor can provide for a client. Sure, it can move your money around maybe or give you suggestions, but there's always going to be that second question that robo advisor is never going to be able to answer, the what if, I want to buy a new house. Well, great. It could tell you, take your money out of these accounts. You're going to see less taxes doing it that way, but it's never going to be able to handle that second question. Well, what if I want to leave this to my kids? Or what if I need to give this to, a family member or something like that in the future?
Right.
Robo advisors are never going to be able to replace that. So seminars are a great way to get in front of a live audience with people that have real questions and show your value to them that is more than just a screen that they're clicking on and, moving money around.
Cool. Awesome. And I guess whether I'm sure that there's some mistakes that advisors have made in the past, maybe when they're early on utilizing seminars. So like, what are some of those pitfalls that should be avoided that, our advisors in this community can sort of, learn from their mistakes?
Sure. So of course it does happen. And a lot of it is over promotion because our marketing efforts are, we're saying this is an educational event. The advisor's name's not actually on our marketing, so they don't know who's speaking until the day of the event. So if they're throwing their logo everywhere, banners, places, the over promotion can really kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's not what we're marketing for. So definitely not over promoting. And then also making sure the advisor is not speaking at the attendees because, again, they're coming to learn about the topic. So really just to understand that their level of said topic is going to probably be lower than theirs, and to speak, to them and make sure they are getting the points across to make sure that they can understand it, opposed to having this high expectation because they're the expert, making sure they're not talking on that level, but they're talking, at a level that everybody can understand while still showing their expertise.
Cool.
Yeah. It's something too that, when seminars were first really, really popular back before White Glove ever existed, and it was, mailers were getting a good response rate still. The mentality almost was you had to like scare your attendees into knowing, oh my God, I need to go meet with this guy because all of these things out there are so scary and I don't know anything about them. And the mentality is just completely different now. Everybody's already scared, right? They have no idea what's going on.
Right.
And come in for a value to learn and be educated, and to make sure you're speaking to them and, relating to them and building that rapport. That's the best practice. If you're trying to, over promote and try to sell your services or, show how smart you are, it really just turns people off. The whole point of a seminar is just to get people to like you.
Yeah, and I think that if you just lead with value the whole time, right, people will see that.
Yep, exactly. Obviously, you have that mentality in your business, and it's the same thing with seminars too.
Yeah.
Just value.
Now, what are some of the seminar best practices that the men or women that are doing the 60 events per year, like what are they doing differently than maybe some of the other people?
Sure. So kind of what we touched on earlier is, they're building the rapport with those attendees. They're getting them to like them. We have, I think we mentioned it before, but we have a partnership with Frank Maselli, and he touches on, the states of emotion that you have to hit during your seminar. So the successful hosts are obviously doing all of that and getting those attendees to like them. So just building the rapport, knowing that's what your goal is to, in that seminar, that's one of your goals. And then the other one is just giving the value, like you mentioned. You're going through the presentation, you're obviously talking on the topic, so making sure that the value is there and they can see it. And then obviously getting them to come back into your office because they like you, then they can touch on their specific situation. So I think those are, the key points of the seminar, and that's what's working.
Awesome.
Really important to do at a seminar would be to, when you first open the seminar, have a very powerful opening, something that grabs all of their attention. That standard, hi, I'm Brad, I work at XYZ Financial, here's my kids on the wall, and this is what we do. Like that stuff's fine, but you want to grab the attention of your audience, something that's going to get them engaged with you. So having a really powerful opening is super important. Give your content, give that education, and then at the end, make sure you're not doing question and answer or anything, focusing on something super narrow, but have a reason for those people in that audience to come back and see you, right? So you have that powerful close, something that, generates those appointments, but something that absolutely like catches them again at the end and lets them know that, you're there for them and you're going to provide them with extra value after this class. There's still continued value with you. So having that powerful close too. So open the seminar strong, make sure you're finishing it strong are probably two really important parts that people need to focus on.
Awesome. Now, if someone, watches this video, right, and wants to work with you guys from first point of contact, let's say they're super motivated to like get this going. So like from first point of contact to seminar, how long does that process take? Is it a couple of weeks? Is it a few months? How quickly can you get someone up and running?
Sure. So depending on the area, because we are first come, first serve, that's the first step to check the availability and figure out which topic that specific host wants to present on. We typically need about a 4 to 6 week lead time on our end to make sure everything is processed.
Cool.
Again, 2 weeks of digital marketing too, so that's with that 2 weeks in place.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I think that's all the questions that we had wanted to go over. I think that this has been super helpful. I hope that it was short and sweet enough to where people watch the whole thing, because I think there's a ton of value in it. And I think it's your business model is very interesting and I think valuable because of that sort of risk-free model that you guys operate on. And I mean, just the fact that you guys host 500 events a month shows that you're kind of doing something right. So I appreciate you guys taking the time today. So Brad, thank you. Maddy, thank you. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you guys, throughout the Financial Advisors Alliance, more than just this week.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having us.
Awesome. Take care.
Thanks.